The mass of men lead lives of quiet desperation. This often quoted line from Henry David Thoreau's Walden means many things to many people, as do most lines of poetry and prose. I do not think it means that most people are desperate or that most people constantly despair. I think rather it means that all hearts hold secrets they are desperate to speak aloud, but can never reveal, either because the revelation would be painful, or simply that there are no words capable of expressing them. To quote another author, William Wordsworth, "The meanest flower that blows can give thoughts that do often lie too deep for tears." This circumstance can be especially painful when you are surrounded by loved ones whom you think should already know the secrets of your heart, but somehow do not. It is a tragic fact of life that I believe is shared by almost everyone in some sense and in some degree. Ode to Billy Joe is a song written and recorded by Bobbie Gentry, a singer-songwriter from Chickasaw County, Mississippi. The single, released on July 10, 1967, was a #1 hit in the United States within 3 months of release, and a big international seller. Billboard ranked the record as the #3 song of the year. It generated 8 Grammy nominations, resulting in 3 wins for Miss Gentry. The music which accompanied the song was fairly simple, just her guitar and a bit of string backing, but it was hauntingly beautiful, and her voice was one made for storytelling. It was unlike nearly everything played on the radio at the time, and tended to make an impression on anyone who heard it. But it is not the music I wish to reflect upon. It is the poem tucked within it. It has much to say, in simple terms, about the ultimate isolation of the human soul. Listen as my good friend and masterful author in her own right of both poetry and prose, Teresa Garcia, reads the poem to you, and then I will offer my own thoughts on it.
Ode to Billy Joe. It was the 3rd of June, another sleepy, dusty Delta day. I was out chopping cotton, and my brother was baling hay. And at dinner time we stopped and walked back to the house to eat. And Mama hollered out the back door, "Y'all remember to wipe your feet." And then she said, "I got some news this morning from Choctaw Ridge. Today, Billy Joe McAllister jumped off the Tallahatchie Bridge." And Papa said to Mama, as he passed around the black-eyed peas, "Well, Billy Joe never had a lick of sense. Pass the biscuits, please. There's 5 more acres in the lower 40 I've got to plow." And Mama said, "It was a shame about Billy Joe. Anyhow, it seems like nothing ever comes to no good up on Choctaw Ridge. And now Billy Joe McAllister's jumped off the Tallahatchie Bridge." And Brother said he recollected when he and Tom and Billy Joe, he put a frog down my back at the Carroll County Picture Show. And wasn't I talking to him after church last Sunday night? I'll have another piece of apple pie. You know, it don't seem right. I saw him at the sawmill yesterday on Choctaw Ridge. And now, you tell me Billy Joe's jumped off the Tallahatchie Bridge. Mama said to me, "Child, what's happened to your appetite? I've been cooking all morning, and you haven't touched a single bite. That nice young preacher, Brother Taylor, dropped by today. Said he'd be pleased to have dinner on Sunday. Oh, by the way, he said he saw a girl that looked a lot like you up on Choctaw Ridge, and she and Billy Joe was throwing something off the Tallahatchie Bridge. A year has come and gone since we heard the news about Billy Joe, and Brother married Becky Thompson. They bought a store in Tupelo. There was a virus going round. Papa caught it, and he died last spring. And now, Mama doesn't seem to want to do much of anything. And me, I spend a lot of time picking flowers up on Choctaw Ridge and drop them into the muddy water off the Tallahatchie Bridge.
There was great interest and speculation about the meaning of the song, what it was about, what happened to Billy Joe, and what they threw off the bridge. There was ultimately even a movie released of the same name and based upon the song. There were originally many more verses of the song, which went into a bit more detail, but ultimately the song had to be trimmed down to fit in the time slot available to popular radio at the time. But I do not think that additional words would have enhanced it much, or improved on the meaning of the story Miss Gentry was trying to tell. She elaborated a bit on the object thrown off the bridge in an interview. "It's in there for two reasons," she said. "First, it locks up a definite relationship between Billy Joe and the girl telling the story, the girl at the table. Second, the fact that Billy Joe was seen throwing something off the bridge, no matter what it was, provides a possible motivation as to why he jumped off the bridge the next day." She said that she had no idea why Billy Joe killed himself. But the song is not about the why of his suicide. It is not really even about the suicide. What the story is actually about is the love the girl had for Billy Joe McAllister, and the total ignorance anyone else had of how deep that love was. This gap between the lives of mother and daughter is amplified later in the song, when both women experience a common loss, first Billy Joe, and later Papa, and yet Mama and the girl are unable to recognize their mutual loss or share their grief. The poem is about how emotions run deep inside of you, and no one else has a clue about them. It is about when you are in your deepest pain, others can be callous and dismissive of the reasons for it. It is a story that plays out each and every day, in all walks of life, from the cries of a child to the lament of the aged. In short, it is one of the many universal themes of existence. Singer Rachel Harrington claimed that Gentry originally wrote 11 verses, but deleted 6 because the song was too long. I am glad they were not included. It allowed that magic of poetry which comes from minimalist expression. The understated tragedies of life.